In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a Jackson Pollock inspired artwork. So I'm going to be using watercolors, paintbrushes, 2 cups of water, one for clean water and one for rinsing my brush. And if you don't have watercolors, food colors also works, or you can do this with crayons. I'll show you that at the end. So I'm going to show you a technique called wet on wet that we'll be using for this painting. So I'm going to just paint some clear water, no paint is on here, onto my paper. And then I can get my watercolors ready. So I'm dipping my brush in the water, and then I'm going to drop some drops of water onto my paint palette and then lightly tap to loosen the color and get my watercolor ready. And then I can drop on that color and you can see it'll just start to spread on its own. So if the paper is wet underneath, the watercolor will spread on its own. So we're going to try using that technique first. So I'm going to use a small brush now, and I'm painting on some different curly lines to create the base for my wet on wet that I will be adding color to in just a moment. So I can just drop in the color now, and you can see it starts to spread on its own, and this looks kind of fun, and it creates a little bit of a more uneven line, which I kind of like. And areas where it starts to dry, you might need to just start painting it in, and that's okay. This is all about action. This is an action painting, so it's all about the process and learning and experimenting as we go. So now I'm just going to go in and add some more lines with these same circular curly motions. And I will just fill in my whole page, and I'm speeding this up a little bit, this video, so you can see. I'm just filling it with different colors. So I'm going to use a pretty simple color scheme. I'm not going to use the full rainbow of colors. And next, I'm going to start adding some more texture with some splatters. So here I just put watercolor on my brush and I'm flicking it with my finger. You can also just use your whole wrist to flick paint onto your paper here. And you can also tap the brush to get some splatters and drips. And that's what we want. We want it to look a little messy. That's okay. But please make sure that you have put some newspaper down or something to protect the surface you're working on, or at least working on the surface where that you can wipe down easily, which is my case. So I'm just going to add some more splatters and things here. And you may have noticed I picked up my paper. When I picked it up, what I was doing is letting some of those drips move, and you can also blow on the watercolor to make some more drips. So I'm just adding in all these splatters, and now I'm done. So for my next example, I want to show you how to use crayons. So I have unpeeled a crayon, and I laid it on its side, and I'm just rubbing it along the surface of my paper, and I'm going to cover this in a nice even coat just to add some texture and background color. Then on top of it, I'm going to start creating those same swirly lines and covering on top of that background color, just like I did with the watercolor. And I'm just going to layer on different colors. So you won't be able to get the splatters, but that's okay. You can still get that layered Jackson Pollock look even without using paint. Now this crayon I'm using has a really fine tip, which made a thin line, but if you use a more dull crayon, then you get a thicker line. So it's kind of nice to have the variety of line qualities in your finished work here. And again, I'm using a more simple color palette, only a few different colors, but I do want different colors to show the different layers and really allow them to pop. And next I think I'll go in and add a little bit of texture, so it's not just plain lines all over my paper. Just add a little more dimension and interest. You can go in and add some final colors, but only you will know when your drawing is done. So I think I'll add one last color, and my Jackson Pollock inspired drawing will be complete.